final last lecture of the year. We will have Sacred Hour again next week, that sacred song over in church, but our final last lecture of the year. And we're pleased to have with us this morning Chris Betcher, Assistant Director with the Office of Alumni and Parent Relations. I'm thrilled to have Chris speaking with us this morning, and any of us who have worked with her in various ways over the years know Chris as a woman with a bright and infectious spirit who brings a lot of hope and a lot of energy to anything she might undertake. A person of deep caring, and I think students who work in alumni and parent relations and so many fellow colleagues and of course our alums come to know Chris as a person whose caring matters a great deal to them, as well as I've heard often about the impact she has on parents in a session that she helps offer as part of orientation, where she speaks from the heart about the experience of being a parent sending one's child off to college. So again, a woman of deep caring. And finally, a person of boundless energy who was willing to say yes to this opportunity, even though in just a few hours today, Alumni and Parent Relations offers one of its biggest gigs for current students in the year, our cap and gown event for our seniors. So thank you to Chris for undertaking this on the same day as that important event. So for all those reasons, we're happy to have Chris with us this morning, and would you please join me in welcoming her?
Thank you, Julie. That was a wonderful introduction. I was looking forward to that as much as I was to give my last lecture. And I also want to thank those of you who are here to hear what I have to say, and especially my really close family and friends that came in special today. I began writing my last lecture shortly after Julie had asked me. I mean, I felt really honored, but I was really scared. I don't consider myself a public speaker. You know, I do it once a year with Corday, and we've been doing it for 8 years. And each time I get a stomach ache and I get really nervous. But I thought that this was a really good opportunity for me to kind of look within myself and, you know, give my opinion or state what I have to state, because as I get older, I find that I do that more and more often, and have to be a little bit careful. I spent a lot of time just putting down notes, and I would wake up in the middle of the night and my eyes would pop open and I'd be like, oh, I have to say that. And I had kept a little pad of paper next to my bed and with a pen, and I would write things down. And sometimes they make sense and sometimes they didn't make sense. More often they didn't make sense. So when it was time to pull all of those pieces of paper together to write something, well, you'll be the judge of that. It has changed quite a few times, and I would sit down at my computer and try to do something, and I would just will it to just please write. And as I would be talking about it, and as it got closer, I got more and more anxious about it. Went home this past weekend to Illinois to visit my family, and I think I might have drove them a little bit crazy. My aunt is here today, and they just said, you know what, speak from your heart. That's what you do best. Don't try to write it if you're not a writer. And so I took their advice, and I kind of came up with this. In the words of Jeffrey Zaslow, he is the author of the last lecture of Randy Pausch, and most of you, I'm sure, know that. And I first read that book my son's freshman year of college. He is now a junior. It was his summer reading. And I thought, oh, excellent. I've seen him profiled on Dateline and those sorts of things. So I saw bits and pieces of his last lecture, as well as heard about his story. And so I pulled that book out again. Not a good idea, because again, I'm not a writer. But in the words of Jeffrey Zaslow, he said, "What wisdom would I impart to the world if I knew it was my last chance? And what would I want my legacy to be?" Well, I really had no idea. So again, I did a lot of contemplating, and I thought I would start out by first telling you a little bit about myself. I am the second oldest of 5 daughters. Yes, my parents are saints. There are 5 of us, and my 4 sisters I consider to be my closest friends, and I enjoy spending time with them. There's sometimes drama, not a lot, but they all live in Illinois, and I really enjoy spending time with them, and as we get older, the closer we become. I've been married for 28 years to my wonderful husband, Bob. Like any marriage, ups and downs, but I'm really looking forward to enjoying our empty nest. I'm lying because I really struggle with my children not being at home anymore. I'm trying to handle it. Anyway, I have 3 really fantastic children. I am so honored to be their mother. My oldest son, Patrick, is 26, recently moved to Utah. It's very far away. He is a field instructor at Second Nature. It's a wilderness nature therapy program, and I'm really, really proud of him, and he's extremely happy, but I really miss him a lot. If anyone wants to send me there for any alumni events, Todd, please, I'd be happy to go. My daughter, Kelsey, she lives in town, and she actually lives with us, so my nest isn't all that empty, and she is really a true great friend of mine. And my youngest son, I still call him the baby. He's 21, he's 6'4", he's almost 200 pounds, and he's a junior in college in Chicago. So that's a little bit of my background. I grew up an Army brat, so moved around quite a bit. Settling in Highland Park, Illinois. My parents grew up in the Chicago area, so when my dad had the opportunity to move to Fort Sheridan, I'm not sure if many of you know about that. It's a military base that has closed and has become a very beautiful neighborhood. So with that, I'm going to talk a little bit about growing up. My parents encouraged my sisters and I to be kind, polite, show respect, accept responsibility, and accept the differences in others, and to do our best. I'm not flawless in all these areas, I will tell you that, but I do try to live every single day trying to be kind and be respectful of others and bring joy to people and smile a lot. One of the greatest joys of my job is working with the students, and I know I'm in the Alumni and Parent Relations office, but for those of you who don't know, I wear 3 hats in that office. I work with the alumni on all of the events that we do on our campus, as well as I work with students, our student alumni ambassadors, and thank you for those of you who are here. And I also work with the parents. One of the first events that I was privileged to do and plan with students was Junior Nights and Days. And that is a weekend for our juniors and their parents to share in the educational experience of their student, including the academic, spiritual, and social dimensions of the college. And on this weekend, Sunday afternoon, we have a brunch, and we invite a guest speaker. The few years in the office that I was working when I wasn't part of the planning, we would have Packer players. They're extremely popular. They're popular with the parents. They're popular with the students. But this one particular year in 2008, we decided that we would like to invite an alum back to campus to speak to our families. And we invited John Sweeney. John Sweeney's a 1988 grad, and he owns the Brave New Workshop Comedy Theater in Minneapolis. And we invited him, one, because he has a really great SNC story. 2, he is extremely, extremely funny, and he had a lot to share with our families. So when he came in on that Sunday, he came with his family, his wife and his 2 sons, and shared his stories with us. And he shared a story that kind of sat with me about him and his wife going to a concert. And while they were at that concert, just the disrespect that some of the other people at the concert were showing to the singer, and the singer had to stop what she was doing and had to ask them to lower the tone of their conversation so that she could hear herself through her monitor. And it made him really furious. And of course, his wife is tapping him on the back and telling him to relax and those sorts of things. So what he decided to do with his anger is he went back to the Brave New Workshop, and he asked the folks that he worked with to help him try to make this world a little bit more civil, and to give him 365 ways that could make this world more civil. And with that came this little black plump book called The Return to Civility, a Speed or Laughter Project. And John was kind enough, because he had a mission that he wanted to give away 1 million of these books in the first year that it was published. So that was good for us, because our families all benefited from that, and he donated enough books that we could give to our families at that brunch. So there are a few things in this book, and they're all really simple, and I'm going to read one now to you, and then I'm going to just flip through and just randomly pick a few others. But day 166, say hello to people you pass in the hall at the office. Even if they have that "I'm super busy and important" look, to them. Perhaps they're just shy. Your friendly greeting might help them feel more comfortable the next time you see them. I know that running into people not long after I graduated from high school, and I was really shy in high school. I still really am pretty shy now. I know people don't believe that, but I am. Take me out of my comfort zone, but when I would re-meet them after school, they would be really surprised because they told me they thought I was snobby. Oh. I said, no, it wasn't that I was snobby. It was just that I was so shy and so afraid that I would just tuck my head down and just keep walking. So as I've gotten older, I've kind of gotten over that because I feel that you have to step outside of your comfort zone. And I learned that when I came to St. Norbert College through all of the mentors that I've had along the way. So anyway, I'm just going to flip through just a few of these, and as you can see, I flip through this book quite often. I often take some of these really simple things and put them at the bottom of my email. People might wonder, oh, why would she be telling us that? But I just think every once in a while we have to remind ourselves that you know, it's super simple to be civil to be civil. Of course, oh, look at the first one I opened to the people who know me really well. Buy a coffee for the person in line behind you at the coffee shop. I can tell you that there have been many times I've been behind Todd at the Starbucks in the morning, and he has done that for me on occasion. So thank you, Todd, for that. I'll just pick a couple. Turn off the light when you leave a room. Who didn't learn that as a child, right? Conserving energy is good for your bank account and for the planet. So that's one of my messages, is that to be kind to other people. Sometimes I don't always like to use that word civility because I don't want to throw it around a lot, but what it boils down to is just being kind. Years ago, prior to working at St. Norbert, and can you believe it, I've been here at 11 and a half years. It went by fast, didn't it, Corday? And let me just shout out to Mary because she was responsible for bringing me here. So anyway, years ago I worked prior to coming to St. Norbert, and the boss that I had at the time, a really great man, his name was Pat, and every single day when he would leave or one of us would leave, he would always say thank you. You know, thank you, Eric, for the great job you did today. You know, thank you, Francis, for helping out that person. I mean, it was really super simple, but it really resonated with me. And one day I said, you know, you say thank you to everybody every single day. And he said, it's because without the people that I work with and work with me, I wouldn't be where I am today. So that's something that I try to do. Sometimes I might overdo it because I do really appreciate all of the people that I work with, and especially my two interns sitting up there who think I'm a little scatterbrained at times, but it works for us. So anyway, that's just a short story that I want to share, because I know that sometimes in our busy lives and things start to feel like they're spinning out of control, which happens to me a lot. I try to keep it under control. Like Julie said, we do have another big event this afternoon, and we have it under control, right, girls? I really couldn't do it without them. I also want to talk about the joys of the little things. It's the little things that make people happy. It's saying thank you. It's smiling at somebody in the hallway, I want everybody to just think a little bit about the little things that make them happy, and they can be super simple. The little things that make me happy are getting to know my husband again, just him and I. You know, we spent a good portion of raising our children, doing things with our children, for our children, which was fantastic. And this will be our first summer without baseball, so we're not sure what we're going to do with ourselves. But I'm sure that we'll find something. But I also enjoy spending time with my children. Every opportunity that I can to spend with them, I cherish, and I always leave there thinking, oh, did we do enough? Oh, did I say all the things I wanted to say to them? And the answer to that is always no, but there's always going to be the next time. And the times that we do get together, we do have a lot of fun. I love to go back and visit my family. When my husband and I first moved up here with our kids 18 years ago, you can ask my aunt, I cried a lot. I miss them. Thank goodness she was here. And we went home at every opportunity that we could. But as most of you know who have children, as they get older, they get busier and busier, and the time periods between seeing my family got larger and larger. But now that they are older, I'm starting to get home a little bit more, and it does help that Joe is in Chicago. So we have plenty of hotel rooms to stay at, meaning Ruth, Cindy, Becky, Mom, Dad, whoever's going to take us and our dogs. Another thing that really brings me a lot of joy is I jazzercise. I'm a jazzercise instructor. Woo! I really was tempted to come in here today and start you out with the jazzercise routine, but I forgot to send out the memo to put on your tennis shoes and your workout clothes, because that is really where I am probably the most comfortable. I know it seems crazy. I put on a headset microphone, wear, yoga pants, and teach people, but it brings me a ton of joy, and part of that is because I love to dance. Lisa Vandenoven kept saying, "Chris, you got to play music as you come in," and I really wanted to figure out the best way to do that, but I wasn't sure quite how to do that. So anyway, I also have 2 other joys in my life, and my office sometimes thinks I'm crazy, and I have 2 dogs. Samson, he's a Yorkie Poo, and he's adorable. And then we have Delta. She's a lab husky. She's the man dog. But it's like having 2 toddlers at home. So they bring me joy. Coffee brings me a lot of joy. Something I should probably give up but can't. I'm a proud new owner of the Keurig coffee maker. And friendships. I have a lot of really close friends, and most of which are here today. I couldn't be who I am today without them and their support and their encouragement. And over the last couple years, with things that have gone on, the ups and the downs, and sometimes more downs than ups. They have been there to support me and to hold me up, and for that I really do appreciate that, and that includes a lot of my really close St. Norbert friends. Yesterday, I worked until about 5 o'clock on tidying things up because I redid this the other day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be here all night. I want it to be perfect. I want people to feel good. I want people to laugh, and I finished about 5:30, and it felt really good. And I'm like, okay, I've done what I can do. So I left, and I went home, and I left everything at my desk because I thought, you can just do what you can do, right, Jeremy? And I got home, and one of my jazzercise students forwarded me something. How many of you here get forwards, and sometimes you delete them, and sometimes you read them? And well, I'm glad that I read it, and I would like to read it to you right now. A little boy wanted to meet God. He knew it was a long trip to where God lived, so he packed his suitcase with a bag of potato chips and a 6-pack of root beer, and he started his journey. When he had gone about 3 blocks, he met an old man. He was sitting in the park just staring at the pigeons. The boy sat down next to him and opened up his suitcase. He was about to take a drink from his root beer when he noticed that the old man looked hungry, so he offered him some chips. He gratefully accepted them and smiled. His smile was so pretty that the boy wanted to see it again, so he offered him a root beer. Again, he smiled at him. The boy was delighted. They sat there all afternoon, eating and smiling, but they never said a word. As twilight approached, the boy realized how tired he was, and he got up to leave. But before he had gone more than a few steps, he turned around, ran back to the old man, and gave him a hug. He gave him the biggest smile ever. When the boy opened the door to his home, a short time later, his mother was surprised by the look of joy on his face. She asked him, "What did you do today that made you so happy?" And he replied, "I had lunch with God." But before his mother could respond, he added, "You know what? He's got the most beautiful smile I have ever seen." Meanwhile, the old man, also radiant with joy, returned to his home. His son was stunned by the look of peace on his face, and he asked, "Dad, what did you do to make you so happy today?" He replied, "I ate potato chips in the park with God." However, before his son responded, he added, "You know, he's much younger than I expected." Too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, and a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the potential to turn a life around. People come into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Embrace all equally. Have lunch with God and bring chips. I just thought, I'm a big believer in fate, and holy cow, did this just fall into my lap, and I love it. With that, my words of wisdom, because I'm sure you've been waiting for them, are really pretty simple. Be kind to one another. Enjoy the little things in life that make you happy. Now, a couple of things. I've always wanted to have my Oprah moment. Woo! So my Oprah moment is that each and every one of you are going to go home today with one of these books, Return to Civility. My good friend Jeremy and Jessica will hand them out down here. You can pick one up on your way out, and really leave through it today, and you'll really enjoy it. I also have another favor to ask you. I don't mean to put you to work while you're here. Outside on the large glass table are little Post-it notes and Sharpie pens, and I have two boards out there, and I would like you to write down one of the ways that you can help make this world a little bit more civil, and or one of the things that makes you happy. So with that, I want to say thank you. Again, Julie, thank you. It was a real honor to be able to do a last lecture, and I hope everybody has a really wonderful day.